Today we're diving into the most rewarding yet relaxed gameplay loops in Star Citizen, Salvage. Salvaging is highly profitable, right alongside mining, making it an excellent way to generate aUEC while stripping derelict ships, wrecks, and panels for valuable materials. Currently, Salvage is less developed than mining, but this makes it much easier to get into, especially for new players. Let's get started. This guide will focus on solo ship salvaging using the Drake Vulture. If you're interested in multi-crew salvage, stay tuned for future guides covering the Aegis Reclaimer and beyond. However, the basics remain the same for both, as the HUD and core mechanics are identical largely. First off, how do you acquire a Vulture? As a 4.0, you have two options. First is the Pledge Store. It's 175 USD for the ship currently. Alternatively, you can buy it in-game for 2,646,200 aUEC at New Deal, located at the Lorville Spaceport. Currently, however, renting the Vulture is not an option, but once available, it'll be a great way to try salvage without spending real money or large amounts of aUEC. Once you have your Vulture, we're going to have to talk about loadouts. The Vulture has slots for 4 modules to be equipped, and you can choose between a cinch scraper, a trawler scraper, or an abrade scraper. The cinch is the most efficient with minimal material loss once scraped. The trawler is the fastest with the largest area of effect, but it has the highest material loss. And then finally you have the abrade, which has a balance between the two. For most players, I'd recommend running dual abrades, one per side, and then you can kind of choose what you want from there. Personally, I'd recommend either going with 2 more cinches or 2 more trawlers in the remaining slots. If you're frequently bumping into wrecks, however, consider re-equipping the default tractor beam for easier control of salvage targets. These modules can be purchased at Platinum Bay or Dumpers Depot at various locations. The exact vendor list may change, so refer to C Stone's tool for up-to-date locations. From here, let's get salvaging. There are 2 primary salvaging methods. First is going to be mission-based contracts, which you can locate in the mobiGlas. These have you traveling to a fixed location and salvaging designated wrecks. These do, however, require an initial aUEC investment, but they will remain profitable regardless. The targets of these missions will range from light fighters to large multi-crew ships, with the cost of the contract increasing with the size of the ship. These will normally give you the name of the ship, so you can judge accordingly, and this information is provided before you take the mission. The second option is salvage panels. These are located in asteroid belts across Stanton and Pyro, similar to mining deposits. You'll need to scan to locate the panels. In order to scan for salvage panels in Star Citizen, use your ship's scanner, as per usual, which is normally bound to the left tab, which sends out a radar ping. You will need to press the V key to enter the actual scanning mode, which will let you see the results. Once you press V, you'll see the HUD change, and essentially from here you just need to hover your main cursor over any of the unknown markers the initial ping found. Once the unknown markers are scanned, they'll provide a result in a little box at the top of your HUD, and these will come back as a number value that return in multiples of 2,000. So for example, 2,000, 4,000, or 6,000, but these can exceed over 10,000. Both of these options yield 2 primary materials, recycled material composite or RMC. RMC is produced via hull scraping. Construction materials are the other option, and these are obtained by fracturing and disintegrating targets. Next, let's discuss the salvage HUD. You enter salvage mode by hitting the M key, which changes your HUD to display critical information for salvage. The HUD is symmetrical, showing details for both salvage heads. Let's start at the top and move down to the bottom. At the top of the HUD in the center, there's a section showing the selected mode. If HDL or HDR is selected, these are your left and right salvage heads. FRA represents fracture mode, and DIS represents disintegration mode. Module selection works as follows. To swap between modules or modes, you'll typically just right-click. You will need the appropriate salvage head selected to adjust the modules. To select the correct head, you'll need to use these shortcuts. To select the left head, you'll need to do left Alt plus A. To select the right head, you'll need to do left Alt plus D. And to select both heads at the same time, you'll need to use left Alt plus S. And finally, to switch between hull scraping and the fracture and disintegration modes, you'll need to press left Alt W and then right-click to cycle between fracture and disintegration. To switch back to hull scraping, you'll need to press left Alt plus S. Above each salvage head, you're going to have a vertical bar with a circle next to it. Above this, you're going to have the target validity. This will display either no target, surface valid, or surface invalid, depending on what you're trying to target. This will confirm if there's salvageable material and what you're focusing on. The circle is material integrity, which shows remaining salvageable material within the area that you focused on. This is effectively measured in SCU, and the circle will fill and deplete based on the amount of material present. And then the meter off to the left of this is the optimal zone, which confirms if you are at the correct distance for salvage efficiency. Then in the bottom right of the HUD is your depot capacity. This tracks the capacity in real time up to 13 SCU. Once it's filled, you'll need to move cargo out of the depot into your cargo hold. The depot empties this out into 1 SCU boxes. The Vulture's default cargo grid holds 24 SCU. If you go off grid, it allows stacking up to 26 SCU safely. Once your cargo grid is filled, you can fill the depot once more, giving you a total SCU storage of 37 SCU. It is important to note that overfilling the depot results in lost materials. Empty the depot into your cargo hold regularly once it becomes full. Otherwise, you will waste time and materials. Now that you understand the gist, this is how your average salvage operation is going to go. First, you'll need to locate your salvage target. Once you've done this, press the M key to activate salvage mode, then align your salvage beams on the wreck. From here, activate your salvage beams, left click to strip the outer hull for RMC. It's also important to note here that you can align your salvage heads relative to each other horizontally using the mouse scroll wheel. From here, monitor your depot to prevent overfilling. Once you've scraped the entire hull, you'll want to switch to fracture mode, then break the hull into smaller chunks using fracture mode. Once it's fractured, you'll want to kick over into disintegration mode. Once this is completed, it will convert the ship hull over into construction material. It will take a moment for this to complete, as the target has to build up energy. You will see a round meter slowly fill, and the wreck itself will begin to have a blur effect applied to it. Make sure before you disintegrate your depot is not full, or that your current target will not exceed your maximum capacity. If it will exceed the maximum capacity, this will appear in your depot portion of your HUD. Once you've filled your cargo hold and your depot is full again, you'll need to sell your materials. Use aUEC to find the best selling location for the current patch. Once you've identified the best selling location, land at the outpost or major landing zone. Go to the trade terminal or admin terminal. Use the terminal and select the salvage materials for sale and submit the sale order. Once this is completed, you'll need to confirm the transaction and deposit cargo into the cargo elevator, if you have not already, to finalize the sale. And that's a wrap. This ends the beginner's guide for Salvage and Star Citizen. Salvaging is a lucrative and immersive career path, letting you profit from the wreckage of battles and derelict ships. Whether you're salvaging in Stanton or risking it all in Pyro, this guide should give you a solid foundation. If you found this guide helpful, leave a like and subscribe for more in-depth Star Citizen content. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.